Hi, this is Michael Adams for CEORoaster, and I got aware of a new company, and that's HealthSpace Data Systems, trading on the Canadian Stock Exchange, and the symbol is HS. Yeah, that's like Health Space. And they just announced today on November 1st, which is actually a vacation or a holiday here in Germany. They announced their new CEO by the name of, and I have to read that, it's a really tough name for me to pronounce. It's Peter Smyrniotis. Yeah, and this sounds Greek to me, but if I'm right, yeah, I will figure that out in my interview. Which I'm going to tape in a few minutes, and I also hope to get some more detailed information about HealthSpace, what they're doing exactly, what's the market potential, yeah, what's the application, the technology, and of course, if it's a good investment for us as investors. Enjoy. So, Peter, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to me and give me some introduction to the company on this really special day for you. And the company just announced that you became the CEO. Is that right?
It is indeed. And thank you very much for having me and making the time to speak with me. I'm actually very excited. I've had the privilege of being here with HealthSpace for a little more than 6 months as their Chief Commercialization Officer, which fundamentally meant that during that time, I had the opportunity to work with all different divisions of the company. Watch it evolve from one state to its very active on-point state. Right. And through the buy-in of everyone on the team and assembling some new resources to help kind of capitalize the future momentum of the business, which sounds very corny, but fundamentally means that we're on the balls of our feet, we're throwing punches where we need to go, means that I'm excited to be here because we have a great opportunity in front of us. And frankly, I like what we're doing. And I'm really excited about the opportunity because when we do everything correctly, our technology saves lives, and that's powerful. You know, I mean, it sounds corny, but I mean, I've got kid sisters. I'm sure people have kids out there of their own, and the idea of someone getting sick, getting a taco is just odd to me.
Yeah, no, it's really, when I was introduced to the business model and the company a while ago, yeah, I really liked it, but there was some bricks were missing in the wall to me, yeah, before I can really start recommending the company to my subscribers and viewers. But to start off, we can talk about the company when we're a little bit more into the interview and about the market potential, the technology. But let's start off with giving some background about yourself.
Sure. Little context on myself. I grew up in the city of Toronto here in Canada. I'm the son of two serial entrepreneurs. My parents were, which you'll find interesting, gives me a bit of tie into HealthSpace, were restaurateurs. So I have a pretty intimate understanding of the kind of client base that HealthSpace services. I had the privilege of being the son of an entrepreneur, which meant, washing dishes, cutting carrots at a very, very early age. And getting that strong, good work ethic that most families that immigrate do get. I was very grateful for that opportunity. While working in that space, I found myself going to the University of Toronto. I studied a variety of things. Went into a little bit of technology, studied anthropology, took some zoology as well, and enjoyed it all. But my real exciting moment for me, and it's again kind of serendipitous to what we're talking about here, was that in the summer of 1997, I applied for an opportunity to work with a company called Magna. Magna is a big Canadian OEM supplier for automotive distribution, and I was afforded an opportunity to go live in Germany. And during 1997 through the late summer of 1998, I got exposed to what real life looks like. No more student living. It was a very interesting time because during that period of time, it really forged my sense of perception of what business and technology could do together. It was the heyday of SAP deploying their R3 technology for logistics. I was there when SMH Swatch and Daimler Chrysler had launched the smart car in Hambach, France. I got a crash course in logistics from SAP. I had an opportunity to work with some special vendors, including companies like Cosworth and McLaren on contract. I got to go to Hockenheim and see F1 races with people who knew what cars are doing, and it was great. And I made the mistake of cheering Nigel Mansell in a Ferrari squad, so that was a bad afternoon. But all kidding aside, myself, outside of that, I spent the last 15 to 16 years working in enterprise technology. And back in 2011, I made a decision to go work in startups, which didn't last long in that the things I learned about how to respect and be a good steward of capital and how to treat and source high quality humans and professionals to work with us really correlated to respecting the difference between a startup and a venture. And a venture is enabled. It's got maturity. It's got focus. There's drive. It's cross-generational. And in the last few years, I've been providing commercialization and technology consulting, enabling tech companies to grow. I'm very fond of this. I love working with smart, capable people. And currently, I can tell you that I love what I do. I get up in the morning and I love tech. I love sales. I love finding the next generation of young, hungry professionals and enabling them to go out there. And I hope they're gunning for my job as I was gunning for my forebears' jobs.
Okay.
But outside of that, I hope that gives you a little context on myself.
Yeah, no, that really sounds good, and it's an impressive background. Yeah, all the companies you mentioned where you work, all your experience, and I think probably that's what the company really needs. Yes, so to me, just from this first, and that's our first contact right now,
Sure.
It seems that you're like the right guy at the right company, right place at the right time. So anyway,
may I share a comment to your question?
Sure.
Just a quick comment. I always kind of picture things a little bit like a Venn diagram. I tend to visualize things. So it's difficult with HealthSpace to not be very cognizant of the fact that the cloud-based product, cloud-based data initiative, cloud-based integration into a mobile strategy, tie that to a team, including myself now, and a new sales professional who's come on board, a former SAP senior sales pro, who basically specialize in food and beverage and health and data. So combine that with a track record of like not having lost a customer to date. It's a great opportunity, and frankly, it's a very stable business. So the foundation is really firm, which means I'm going to have to go out of my way to make a lot of poor choices to not make this thing successful. And frankly, I'm not going to do that. It's not something that I take anything less than lightly. I mean, this is something that's very important. So I thought for purposes, it's kind of like the holy triangle, right? Product, tech, finance, it's all ready to go.
Yeah. Now, actually, that's what kind of attracted me is that you have actually it's an old industry, yeah. But you're using this new technology and methods, yeah, to make everything smoother, easier, faster, cheaper, better. Yeah. So let's talk about. You already gave some basic information about the company, but maybe if you can give us kind of the elevator pitch in like 30 seconds, what HealthSpace is all about, like for all the guys that so far don't know the company.
Sure. I can answer that very easily. What HealthSpace does is deliver real-time analytics and services to, at the outset, government organizations that investigate and inspect where food intersects with people. We also deal with an additional set of services where we monitor things like water, with sewage. We allow inspectors for health authorities and counties, municipalities, states, federal organizations at the outset to go out there and basically ensure that the population that they service is safe, secure, and that the places that interact with people are being monitored and tracked, and then being if you will, strategically managed so that they understand that they have to stay on point. It's simple. As a population, you can't afford foreign vectors coming into your population and getting people sick. I mean, there are organizations here in North America that have had examples of E. coli poisoning and so forth, and these things are primarily preventable. I mean, whether it's coming from the food safety processing facility, at some point it's going to hit a kitchen, it's going to hit a floor, it's going to hit a table. Things happen. Pests get into environments. All this stuff is inspected and tracked by governments, and our technology is an example where fundamentally most technologies do one of two things. They're either 10 times better than what's come before, or they're disruptive. And what's interesting about HealthSpace is, as you said, it's a business that's a little older than a decade. And during that period, what we do is we replace the clipboard, we replace the spreadsheet with a mobile strategy, but our disruption is forthcoming. Our disruption is that we allow commercial organizations to be able to take that same auditing technology that the government uses so they can be proactive, so they're not just getting an inspection once a month, once a quarter, semi-annually. They can be on top of their own management. That's exciting because, I mean, it's a simple solution that enables businesses to take more custody and control of their own destiny and responsibility to their community.
Yeah, and actually, you know what I really like about this? As you said, yeah, so far, or in the past, over the last decades, yeah, there was all these inspectors running around, yeah, into the restaurants and had their check marks on paper. Then they went back into their office and punched everything, I don't know, yeah, probably on the computer. And it took them way longer, and there was like a very high probability of mistakes, and nobody besides the government really had access to this data. So that's a business model on its own, just to replace this process by technology. But on top of this, and this is what I really feel is interesting and might be a little bit hard to understand for a European or especially German-based investor, is that you are able to kind of use this data and sell it to third parties. Because in Germany, I guess the legal environment, the data protection stuff is a little bit more complicated. But there's in North America, you have the, how's it called, the Freedom of Information Act or whatever it is called, right? So you can really use this information, yeah, which actually you don't pay for gathering it. Yes, your clients actually pay for using this to gather the information that later on you can use and market to someone else.
It's absolutely one of the mechanisms. Can I speak to that for a minute? Yeah. An example that I would find interesting is it's actually, I can localize it to Germany if you like. It's an example. So hypothetically, if you have a region, say you're in Niedersachsen and you're down in, I don't know, Hildesheim, and you're there, and the regional health authority or the municipality is inspecting all the bars and restaurants and places where food is served to people, among other things. There are other more. I'm using this as a topical example. Say that's going through and all the data is categorized, captured digitally, and stored on a cloud, and it's managed. The data in that scenario in North America is published by the states or the federal government. It's made available on a variety of different pieces of legislation. And we, as the mechanism that delivers that, are able to take that same data and then utilize that data and provide an insightful set of capabilities to service and deliver that data to different parties within the ecosystem will find value in it. There are potential organizations such as I mentioned earlier. There are pest control organizations that could want to maybe look at what's going on currently, say what is happening this autumn. Maybe there's a higher issue around pests that are, rodents, or maybe there's an issue around water being infected differently. Another example are insurance companies. They may see value in what we're doing there as well. There's other opportunities where these insurance companies can take a look and go like, look, we have to make sure that we're giving the best possible rates to our customers who are taking care of their environments. We should reward good auditing. If you run a clean, tight family business and you're getting good scores, your insurance rates, I think, should reflect that. And we can enable those organizations to service their customers better. We can also provide our data to aggregators. There are a lot of data sets out there that are, if you will, 90%, 80%, 70% complete. And when you overlay our data sets into their data sets, it enriches the picture, right? So I'm really excited about the fact that we have identified over 6 to 7 very specific targets in terms of the market. They'll find value and have identified themselves, and in many cases, self-identified that there's value in that, in what we have to offer through our HealthSpace data platform. And we are really excited about the fact that we cut our product development time by almost a year by connecting with a global strategic partner named Kabula and using their state-of-the-art technology to service our interests and theirs. And they've been a really great partner to work with. They've enabled us to cut product development time, to provide a best-in-class solution to customers, and they've been a delight to work with. And our product development team has been very, very successful in rapidly deploying our technology so we can start taking it out. And in fact, we have already begun our active engagement in the market as of this past week, and we'll be going into November actively delivering this service and making it available to customers.
Okay. No, it's really, really interesting. And let's talk about your existing customers, because you're one of the companies, and that's also something I like. Yeah, it's not that you're kind of starting and try to get clients. Yeah, you already have customers, clients, however you call them. Mm-hmm. So what's the plan to outroll? Yeah, to get it yeah, because your focus market right now is the United States and Canada. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and how are you going to roll it out to even more clients? And second question would be, is there kind of a more international strategy, going into South America or other places?
Michael, that's a very good question. Thank you for asking. I can basically summate this, that what our strategy for taking our technology to market entails is based around our 3 product categories. You're familiar with our HS Cloud Suite, which is a technology that is cloud and mobile enabled that allows organizations and government to service and maintain their populations and communities by monitoring the health and well-being of the organizations that service them locally, and service food, beverage, food, water, sewage, and so forth. The new piece of business is that same technology platform made available to government organizations, we've identified and we've got very, very positive early traction with non-government organizations, commercial enterprise organizations, who in many cases want the same technology with exactly the same interface, with the exact same inspection profile, so that if you're in a town or a city and your government is monitoring how your local community services food, and you're a food vendor or provider, and you want to basically be sure that you're actively providing the same kind of high quality services and you don't want to be caught unprepared, you can purchase our software and utilize it to the same effect. Secondly, we can take our same software, and we are currently through a product user experience, user interface refresh. We're pushing out a very, very beautiful new interface with, frankly, low touch points, easy to use functionality, and this 1-2 punch combined with our strong functional background allows us to take this to commercial enterprise organizations who are actually being monitored, so that if an organization has 15 locations and they're being monitored in 5 different territories, they can use our software, which will allow them to monitor all 15 of those locations in multiple territories monthly, weekly, quarterly, so that they're always a step ahead of government insight and observation. This is helpful for a number of reasons. One, it allows them to manage their internal business managers at different locations to ensure that quality control is there and being serviced. Secondly, it allows them to be ahead of whatever government legislation changes. So if the records get changed or inspection profiles change, we can update those on the fly so they have access to that same information. And thirdly, in the scenario where they have 15 locations and hypothetically half of those locations are franchisees, it allows them to ensure that their brand quality and control is being respected and monitored by the core business and the franchisees at both sides of that equation. It allows everyone to have the same data and insight, and ultimately data without insight is not valuable. So that's the first piece. Commercial enterprise is the second piece, and finally the third piece, of course, is our data play. And we are basically taking our data into the US states, across America from coast to coast. We're also doing this actively in Canada. We have real-time data, historical data on what's actually transpiring across Canada at large. I would anticipate that by the end of 2017, we will have enough preliminary information gathered on buyer behaviors that we'll be able to target probably 2 or 3 specific foreign markets. I think a logical extension, of course, would be working with the National Health Service out of the United Kingdom. It's a logical extension. Canada being part of the Commonwealth makes it very easy to enter the government there at large. I can tell you for a fact that if there's any G8 country that monitors and tracks this, already has these processes in place, which allows us to take our proven processes, proven strategy, and then roll that out territory by territory. However, I would be out of line and frankly speaking out of turn if I suggested to you that we have a 2018 plan to go into 4 countries. That would probably be a little foolish. We want to make sure that between managing North America's expectations, that the next market we roll into, it's a proof of concept, and the things we learn in the UK allow us to roll into Scotland, into Ireland, and from there hit the mainland of Europe and roll into that territory as well. Does that give you the kind of insight you were looking for?
Yeah, no, that's really, I think, good. What I would be interested in hearing is about a couple of the clients actually right now, like the names of the clients, the towns, the government organizations, whatever it is, that are already paying clients.
Sure. First thing I can share with you is that we have a number of client profiles available on our website. So any of our customers or investors can feel free to take a look or see what our track record entails. I'm happy to provide you with 1 Canadian, 1 US, just here for the purpose of our conversation. One of our longest running customers is the Virginia Department of Health. this organization has been with us for a very long time. I think, to the best of my knowledge, going on over a decade now. And I'll have to double check that. It's my first day, so don't hold me to it.
No worries.
But that being said, one of the most interesting things about working with them has been our ability to tangibly provide high-quality services through our existing technology platform. And the things we have learned working with that organization have helped fuel the product development choices and decisions that have gone into our new HS Cloud Suite and HS Data Suite. When you work with a customer of a state size that's that large and that sophisticated, and that is actively and working and committed to doing what's best for their population, it allows us to kind of gather the right kind of learnings to be able to build better technology. And what I'm excited to say is that, going into that business, it has allowed us to take what we've learned with them and showcase that to other customers at the state level across the US. And they've been a pleasure to work with. Another organization here in Canada, for example, would be the Vancouver Coastal Island Health Authority. Vancouver Island is, I have a sneaking suspicion that many of your German investors have on occasion come out to British Columbia here in Canada. I tend to see you guys out in the wilderness a lot when I'm hiking myself with my dog and my girl. And one of the things I love is British Columbia's island, Vancouver Island, is stunning. It's a beautiful place to go. I'm not trying to twist this into a tourist conversation, but I can tell you that there's great places to eat, great places to stay, hotels to visit, and all of those places have been monitored actively by our software and services for some time. So track record of people being looked after and enjoying themselves safely, whether it's locals or tourists, I think that track record speaks to itself. I mean, everywhere you go in British Columbia, our license plates only say one thing: it's supernatural, right? It's stunning to be here. And while you're here enjoying yourself, you should be able to put your head down, enjoy a meal, and feel safe about doing that. So that's another example.
Right. Yeah. And unfortunately, I have to admit, I never made it outside 2 miles from Howe and Pender, right? So I've been to Vancouver a couple of times, but yeah, only downtown. So I definitely have to go to Vancouver.
Then with all sincerity, Michael, the next time you're in town, if you'd like to bring a pair of boots, we'll hit the North Shore. I'll bring an old sheepdog, and we'll have a good hike up the mountains.
Sounds cool. Thanks. Okay, let's talk about the revenue potential. Yeah. Now we have. I guess I understand. Yeah. Where are the sources of revenue? Yeah. But what could be a potential, or is there any official guidance for 2017 on the revenue side?
Yes, there is. To date, we are cruising at about $2.6 million of top-line revenue from existing clients at the state level. And the team that has been in place to date has done an excellent job of delivering those clients high-quality services and delivering value across the board. Further, what we can attest to is that with the launch of our HS Cloud Suite in the last 35 to 45 days, we have a new product platform with a new pricing thesis. And we have a mobile strategy which allows us to not only work with our existing technology, but with competitors' technology as well. Having the only mobile play means that if a customer is not receptive or doesn't have the budget or funding available to rip and replace their existing technology, they can use our mobile technology to integrate directly into their services to better enable what they're already using today, which is great. I mean, in some cases you're going to compete, in some cases you're going to collaborate. I think being transparent about that in the marketplace is a good way to address things. I mean, transparency tends to drive good choices. Outside of that, on the data play, historically, data is, and it's interesting to say, but data is basically worth zero or priceless, depending on what it is to whoever. And the powerful thing is, we know to date through our early beta testing and preliminary conversations with select customers and through working with us in partnerships that we have the opportunity to bring our data to customers. And historically, you can sell software-based data for 4 times what you can usually sell the software that underpins it. So if you're selling one license, or say a block of licenses for 10 for one customer, and the value is X, well, the data equivalent sale will be 4 times X. So, and that's great because you can sell it as a SaaS, you can sell it as a term, and there are organizations that are, I'm sure here, without name dropping too many national organizations, I don't want to speak out of turn, but there are places that serve coffee from coast to coast. They would like to have that kind of data to make sure that they're on top of what's going on there, okay? And there's places that serve things like pizza, right? If you're servicing these kind of organizations, they're going to want to see what your data provides. And our pricing is very competitive, offers fantastic value to customers. Regarding new top-line revenue, we are forecasting an additional $7 million of new top-line revenue in 2017. on top of our existing sales. And to make sure that we achieve that, we were very selective in who we brought on board as our lead sales professionals. As I mentioned in one of my earlier comments, we have to take this very seriously, and I don't think a misstep is really in order. So we sourced a best-in-class data professional from SAP who had done a great job there and afforded them the opportunity to come join us. They selected to do so. And coming to our organization, they have hit the ground running, which again is another cliche, but what it means is they've gone in 4 weeks from zero to a $350,000 forecasted pipe of new sales rapidly.
Okay.
And I'll speak candidly, and that's just in their preliminary 3 to 4 weeks of actual prospecting in one select U.S. territory. So if you want to sell in America, as the young man told me, he goes, you go to Texas, you go big or you go home. And the good news is Texas loves to eat, and we know where to take our services there. Texas likes clean water. We prioritize that as well. We genuinely care about working with organizations in the government level who really want to look after their populations. If they don't afford budget to buy and purchase and maintain software of this type, chances are they're not really taking the health of their citizens as a priority, or they have other circumstances working against them. But our number one priority is to make that top line revenue for our employees, for our investors. Shareholder value creation is my fundamental responsibility. Someone along my path in the last 6 months pulled me aside and reminded me that the share price is the healthy barometer of the health of the business. So I understand what that means.
And actually, that's good that you mentioned it, because I have a conflict of interest. I'm a shareholder also in HealthSpace.
Damn it!
You got me. The market cap right now is something like 5-6 million, right? And if you compare that to what you just gave as guidance for 2017, I think the investor or the viewers can do their own math. That it's, to me, and I can say that it's a very attractive levels to buy in. Just to sum up for our first video interview, what's kind of the end game? So will you take over the world, or will someone else take you over, like one of the big companies like SAP? Or just if you take a look into the crystal ball, what could happen?
It's funny. There used to be this very sweet gypsy lady who worked outside of one of the villages I lived in, and she used to do that whole crystal ball thing. And I have to admit, in my 20s, I was foolish enough to play that game. And I always enjoyed that she always had the best wine to drink in the evenings. Regardless of that, when I look into my crystal ball for HealthSpace, my primary objective is to grow the value, the health, and the sustainable impact of the business at large. What that means for us is that as we grow and achieve revenue targets that exceed expectations in a consistent and quarterly fashion, that if businesses can be merged through consolidation and acquisition, we'll do it. We'll find them, we'll find value, we'll find alignment on technology, team, culture, and outcomes. And if that's in place, we'll buy them, we'll merge with them. And if it means that we have to evaluate a competitor or potential partner and realize that they're not moving at the speed we are, then we'll supersede them and we'll move into their market and we'll do what we have to do to be successful at that pace. As a final outcome, the reality is we're a high growth tech company that has a backbone of more than a decade of solid technology servicing our customers. So the only thing that I would say that would be really transparent at this point is that it really is a large, significant opportunity. And if someone comes knocking during our soon-to-be historic flight into 2017, we will be happy to consider all reasonable and exciting offers.
Okay. I think that was great. Let me try to sum it up, and you can correct me if I put something wrong.
Yes,
so
sir.
We have a company that's trading as HS on the Canadian Stock Exchange, and it's also trading on German exchanges. The WKN number is A2ABE4. We have a market cap of like 5 or 6 million. We already have a steady business, or a steady revenue stream from the business that's bringing in 2 million. We have a good financial prediction for 2017. It's not a brand new startup. What HealthSpace is trying to do is they have this old industry, which is kind of government forced that it exists, and now they're applying new technology. But the smart thing that I feel is that they make the clients, like the guys who gather the data, they are paying for this service. And the data that is gathered can then be sold to other third parties. That's just an example that comes to my mind. If I'm McDonald's in Ontario, or maybe I'm Burger King in BC, or I'm, what else? A Kentucky Fried Chicken in Virginia, right? And I would like to know as soon as possible if there's a problem in any of my restaurants, right?
Correct.
And so I would pay to get this information. And on the other hand, there's all the kinds of suppliers, that, let's say I'm a producer of refrigerators, and I can go to, or I can get all the data on some of the restaurants in my area and see where they have a failure of their fridge and they need a new one, and I can sell to them. And so HealthSpace gets from both sides, gets money from both sides, which to me makes it really fascinating. There's no huge overhead. I think as soon as all the stuff is, or all the technology is there and everything is working out, it's really a scalable business. So I can only urge you, the website is healthspace.com. It's very interesting. There's a couple of more information on there. That would be kind of my 2 cents. Maybe if you want to add some last words, Peter?
First of all, that was a great summary. Frankly, being here my first day, I'm probably going to play back this interview so I can make sure I learn how to say it as well as you did. But my final last words on the subject at large is this: is that taking the leadership position here at HealthSpace was a very easy choice to make. I'm excited to say that aside from the sun shining in on my face at the last minute to brighten up my day, that HealthSpace itself is an opportunity to take something that is battle tested and take all the learnings from it and frankly do something significant with it. Take a cloud mobile data. I mean, these are not uncommon terms in technology, but to have them unified by a source data point and a proven customer profile, and then to take that existing platform and deliver it in every channel to new customers and buyers, it's a very compelling story. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm excited that I have the ability to work with the people I want to work with. I'm excited that I've been able to bring in new talent that has integrated with the existing employees and have found alignment. And frankly, we've got a great management team, a lot of seniority, a lot of expertise. I've got a lot of support to make sure that I'm given the right insights to provide the best possible value and to make the best decisions for this organization at large. So with your permission, my final word is I got to go make some money and I got to go get to work because we have a lot to do.
That's perfect. So thank you very much. I'm pretty sure that we are going to tape another video interview in the not so distant future. But for now, good luck for your new position. And talk soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much.